Hey, what's up guys? Thank you for clicking on the video. I try not to talk about my job too much on this channel, but I thought Drew's question was very timely because just a few weeks ago, I did accept a promotion at work. And that is a huge deal to me. Anyone that knows me knows how seriously that I take my career. That said, I'm still as unimportant as I've ever been. So I don't want this to seem like I'm preaching to you guys or like I'm better than anyone or that I know even more than anyone else. It's just I want to pass along a few things that I've learned over the years that will hopefully help some of you out. Now I'm going to break this down into 5 different things that I think will help anyone progress in any area of life, whether that be your career, a hobby, a relationship, anything. But before we get into that, I want to start by saying this has nothing to do with intelligence. For a lot of years, I used that as a crutch or as an excuse as to why I couldn't do certain things that other people were doing because I wasn't the smartest kid out there. Now, over the years, I've somehow convinced a few people out in the world that I'm smarter than I really am. And that's because, honestly, I put a lot more effort and energy into things than most people. Now, I didn't know this at the time, but when I started school, I took the test, you know, that same test they give every kid, and I did not do very well. In fact, I scored a lot lower than most kids.
And he had to do a special test. We were all excited. And I remember after he completed his test, I was sat down and told, you know, he's just not our kind of kid.
So low that they wouldn't even let me into the kindergarten that my mom was trying to get me into initially. Now, my mom was a crazy Italian, so somehow I managed to get in. But kind of going on through the years.
Throughout his school years, this story was the same. I heard from many a teacher, yes, Travis is average. Maybe Mrs. Stewart, you expect a little bit too much. You know, maybe he's not quite college material. I'm proud to stand here and say my son now is a sophomore in college, on the dean's list, finished winter quarter with a 4.0.
Now you see that guy right there? It's a little bit misleading because I didn't actually attend graduation. I just borrowed a cap and gown from one of my friends so I could take pictures for my mom. But I did graduate from Wright State University, 4-year degree in finance, magna cum laude, which is like a 3.7 or 3.8 or something like that. Ended up doing it in like 3.5 years, I believe. After that, I went here, the University of Cincinnati, where I got 2 master's degrees, one in business administration or an MBA and 1 master's of accounting.
It's true. My son is average. He's an average student. But as I saw him struggle and as I tried to encourage him and let him know it's not always IQ, it's about how hard you work, how dedicated you are, what you're willing to give, and having belief in yourself. Not letting others define who you are will make you successful.
So not being the most naturally intelligent person is a nice cop-out if you guys want to use that, but it will not get you anywhere. Moving on to number 1, and that is going to be deliver. You have to produce results. I hate cliche sayings, you guys know that, but we've all heard it. Under promise, over deliver. Can't agree with that more. I'll give you guys a real life example. I'm working on a huge project right now. So I would say last month maybe, I was approached at like 4:30 on a Friday afternoon. You know, everyone's winding down, getting ready to go home. And I find out we have a very important meeting on Monday afternoon. So in order to get everything in line for that meeting, the person I was working with, who is a very, very important person by the way, he wanted to have a report by Monday morning so he could get ready for that meeting. So I said, you know what, I will have it to you by Saturday just in case anything happens. What I did was I stayed late, I got it to him like 8 o'clock on Friday night. Just, God forbid, something were to go wrong, I would have plenty of time to deliver. It doesn't matter, no one wants your excuses because they will all be irrelevant, I promise you. You have to make sure you're delivering results. Number 2, everything is in your job description. I remember working with someone in high school and she was working on something and I heard her say, you know, this isn't in my job description. And all I heard when she said that is that I never want promoted. That is what I hear when people say that. It's the dumbest thing I've heard from any working person because it doesn't matter what's in the paragraph when you applied for your job. I couldn't tell you what is in my job description. I don't know. I don't know that I've ever read it. You know what's in my job description? Anything that needs done that's ethical and moral. That's what's in my job description. You have to be able and willing to do the things that other people won't do or don't want to do. And if you do that, if you go above and beyond and do those things, I can promise you that you will be better off for it. I could go on a long rant about job descriptions. I swear, it's just like an HR marketing ploy. But even if my boss called me in the middle of winter and was like, go outside and wash my car, which she would never do, by the way, but if that happened, you know what I would do? I would go outside with a smile on my face and I would wash that car. Number 3 might be the best career advice I've ever been given. I was talking to someone I really looked up to in the company about promotions. He was very young, but he had been promoted time and time again to a very high level at a very young age, and I admired that. So he told me, be the obvious choice. And I said, well, yeah, that sounds great, but how do you become the obvious choice? And what he said really hit home with me. He said, proactively do the things that are required in that job while you're in your current role. So when that job becomes available, you're already doing the things that are necessary for it, so you will be the obvious choice to take that job. And when I heard that, a light bulb just went off. Like, I need to be doing more. I need to volunteer. I need to get involved in different things. I need to get outside of my comfort zones. I need to surround myself with people that will volunteer me to do things. In other words, tell me to do things and I will go do them. And I am not too proud to admit that I am a yes man. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with that movie.
I'm a yes man. Wow.
I think a lot of us can learn from that movie, actually. If someone tells you to do something or asks you to do something, you just say yes and you find a way to make it happen. There's no excuse. There's nothing that you really can't do, right? Unless, again, if it's illegal or unethical. But other than that, you gotta find a way to get anything done that needs to be. Number 4, find a mentor. And it doesn't even have to be a formal thing necessarily. Informally, I've had a mentor for my entire life. I've always looked up to my mother, the hardest working person that I had ever met. And it has nothing to do with money, right? I mean, I was making more as an intern in college than she was as a school teacher. So that is not why I look up to people. But it's just surrounding yourself with people that have walked the walk, that people that have been in the position that you want to be in. Now that I'm in the professional world, my mentor has done my job and progressed from there, and he helps me a lot along the way. So I set up meetings, I make sure he's getting something out of it as well, and it's just a great relationship to have. And it could be anyone. My boss has taught me more in the year, not only about work, but about myself than I could have ever imagined. Just making sure that I'm surrounding myself with people who I consider better than me. And back to where we started for number 5, which is what I consider to be the most important one, and that is genuine positivity. Now, why do I say genuine positivity? Because I have met people who are Debbie Downers, pessimistic, negative all the time, always mad about something, and they're just terrible to be around, to be honest. But then they'll start posting things online like they're Joel Osteen or someone with all these positive, empowering messages.
So we might as well just relax and know that all things are going to work together for our good.
And I'm just like, who are you? Like, how do you live a double life like that? But the issue isn't that other people see that you're fake, because we're gonna see right through it. It's that if you're not completely sold, if you're not bought in on being positive, then it is not going to do anyone any good. How do you be positive? I don't know. The biggest tip that I will give anyone is just realize how good you have it. That is my key to remaining positive, even when times get pretty bad. Now, I can promise you I will never be the smartest or the best spoken or the funniest. I'll never work the fastest, but positivity is one thing that I do have going for me. And it has opened a lot of doors for me. Just think about all the times you've had to work with people. What has been the one thing that has made it enjoyable? If it has been, most likely their attitude, the likability factor. It will go farther than almost any skill, because you can learn a skill. You can't necessarily learn to be positive until you learn to appreciate the things you have, and that is extremely hard for a lot of people. And don't be selfish with your positivity. You have to spread it around to other people, because it really is contagious. All right, I am done moving around for the day. I think this is gonna be my cardio for the year, but thank you for letting me talk about myself for the last few minutes or so. Hopefully you guys got something out of it. Appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch. That really does mean a lot to me. You could have been doing anything, and you chose to spend these few minutes with me. That's pretty awesome. Please give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Hopefully it'll help some of you guys out there, and I look forward to talking to you guys next time.